there, unfortunate audience. My name is Olaterrio, and welcome to How I Draw, which is pretty badly. No, but welcome. Today, I will be showing off how I do art. Don't get your hopes up, it's gonna be terrible. Before we get started, I want to mention that I have a drawing pad, and it has a screen on it. That's what I'm working with here. Now let's get on into it. So the first thing I do when drawing is usually I go in with not a plan. Well, actually, I have some sort of plan. Usually, I'm thinking of, what do I want to draw? And, so thinking about that, I'm thinking right now, what series am I gonna do that I could have art for? And, like, the first one that pops into my head is Zelda. Why not? So, I guess that's what I'm gonna go for. Yeah, Zelda. Why the fuck not? Because why not? And when I start drawing, the first thing I like to draw is usually the head. So I'll usually just go ahead and start drawing the head. I got a lot of my references for how to draw a head through anime, so that's a thing that exists. And usually I'll do something like this if I want it to be more anime inspired. There's a lot of different ways that you could draw a head. Like, if you want to go chibi, you could go like, you could give it a little bit of a cheek. Maybe you could be like, it's a more chibi style head. I don't know if that's the best chibi style head, but it is a chibi style head. Chibi style heads are usually, just think of it as a bean, basically, just a bean. That's a chibi style head, and you can think of this one as like a hook. That's a kind of anime inspired head. That's basically what you could think about it as. Since we're gonna be drawing Zelda shit, I'm gonna choose the best art style to fit with that, which is anime inspired, because the characters in Zelda are anime inspired. At least most of the time. When they got cat eyes, I didn't like that shit. And you'd be thinking, okay, you got the head now, what are you gonna do? Well, now we're gonna draw the body. Obviously. Why draw all the head details when you can go straight to the body? Now I gotta remember what the fuck Link looks like. Usually if I can't remember, I'll just think of what I would wear as Link, and what I would wear, something like this. That does not look right. Alright, fine, I'll fucking search it up. It's not wrong to use references, alright? It's not wrong. Unless you're basically copying shit, stroke for stroke, it's not wrong. And no one can deny me that. I won't go for a specific game or series that I'll draw from. I'll just grab whatever I like the most and put it on. So the tunic I found is actually kind of strange, since it's more like a Jesus. Usually nowadays, what I like to add before there's a belt on this character. So what I like to add nowadays, before I didn't used to do this, but I like to baggy it up a little bit. You know, just bring it out, add that little bit of extra detail that nobody cares about. And then you could finally bring it down again. And there you go. That's basically it. It sort of looks like a fucking skirt, but that's what a tunic is! It's a skirt, damn it. I guess if I did want to detail it a bit more, I could just bring it up. That way I could be like... Now it barely looks like pants. One useful thing I could think of is like, if you're having a hard time deciding whether the legs fit the character or not, especially with like certain types of clothing styles, like it's basically this tunic here. That is a terrible underhang for the tunic. To represent shades, I'll just usually put lines, but if you're having a hard trouble deciphering it, you could temporarily put like lines up to decide whether or not it fits the character. So I'm just gonna draw a skeleton right now. And from what I'm seeing, it's a little bit unbalanced. This tunic could be a little bit larger, but for the most part, it's atomically correct. For the most part. Might I rephrase that twice? I usually add a lot of my details during the sketching phase, since there's only two phases I have, sketching and then finalizing. And you want to add as much detail in that sketching phase so that's easier to finalize. The art I found here is actually really unique because it's the only art I know of so far to actually have a shield. Your main goal in this phase is basically just to get the basic ideals about what's going on in the character down. I don't like to add too much detail to certain objects like shields and stuff. Not because it distracts from the art or anything, god no, you'd want to be distracted from the art as much as possible. No, but because I'm not too good with details, so I'd rather just ignore them. I gotta say, for my first time drawing Link, this is surprisingly better than expected. If this is Link Between Worlds, I thought it was Link's Awakening, but it's actually Link Between Worlds. So he has a little bracelet on him. And for the love of God, I don't want to draw all that detail, so I'm just gonna go for something unique here. Sometimes if I don't want to draw a lot of detail, I'll just go with whatever fucking design comes in my head, and this is what came out of it. My mind makes terrible things. Now, I'm gonna draw a basic shape for the sword. Not because I need to, but because it helps me identify what exactly I want to do with the hilt. So if I want the sword to be facing this direction, I gotta model the hand, I gotta draw the hand around that. Why does it have wings? The Master Sword isn't a fucking bird. Doesn't need wings. Yeah, I'm gonna go for an artistic interpretation of the Master Sword. There you go, that's the Master Sword. And that is the shittiest looking Master Sword ever. I want to move the model to the left. Actually, I kind of fucked myself there. Should probably do that before I move it to the left. There you go. Now it looks better if I were to draw the sword. Because now there's actually fucking space for the sword to be drawn in. A good rule of thumb is to make the sword at least longer than your arm. Or at least as long as your arm. Because if it's too small, then it just looks like you're holding a dick. As you can see, one of the things you may notice while I'm sketching is that I'll usually have anti-aliasing off. And this is not because I want it to look disgusting as fuck. No. It's because I legitimately think it helps me draw. Which sounds ridiculous, but when you're drawing, you'll try anything. Try it to experiment what helps you draw better. And one of the things I learned is that when I'm sketching, it's better if I have anti-aliasing off. It also helps if I have music in the background because it helps me keep my mind off, you know, talking and shit. It's not natural for people to talk alone late at night, if you haven't fucking noticed. So, for when I'm doing review, like, audio and shit like that, but basically if I'm not playing a game, I'll just have my phone out with some random music here. Like, for example, this one is just Kirby music for 2 hours. The only thing that keeps me sane at night anymore. Right, now it's time for the head. And usually when I go for the head, I told you should have aimed for the head. I like to zoom in a little bit. Ooh, this is a problem. You see here? Now we're working with limitations. I might have to shrink him down a bit. Oof. That hurts to do. Hurts my mind. Basically for hair, just do random triangles. Just do random V's and sometimes hook them together and sometimes have like little lines in between here and sometimes don't. Like, see, there's no lines here, but they are here. Just vary it up as much as possible, but keep it grounded is my like key phrase here. What I mean by grounded is don't have hair that goes like this. Like all of a sudden it goes this direction and now it's like that could work. But good luck trying to fucking pull that off. Alright, now for my least favorite part, the make it or break it, the face. Usually when I have the olaterrio modeled in a certain way, whenever I have him on a thumbnail, you'll always see him pissed off. And this is for a very good reason. You see, I'm referencing the Kirby American box art, which, very obscure reference. I don't think anyone gets that. But yeah, the reason why he's always sort of pissed off is because Kirby's always sort of pissed off. I think they wanted to make him look determined, but it makes him look pissed off. Should I give him a scar? We might add a scar, actually. There you go, now he's scarred for life. But subscribe to Scar on YouTube. What I usually like to draw first in the face is the mouth, and then from there I go to the eyes. And the first part about drawing the eyes, for this specific one, I always have like a consistent eye shape model, whatever you want to call it. I have a consistent way of drawing eyes. And the way I do that is I first start out with the pupil. For this example, it's going to be just a regular circle. Make sure you space them apart a reasonable distance. Even if you think that's reasonable, go even further beyond. Go even further beyond what you think is reasonable. Because most of the time, you're going to be like, ah, shit, I don't have enough space. It happens to me so frequently. And then you draw the outside of the eye. I don't know what you'd call it. I call it the outside of the eye, which, very professional, I know. Then you draw the eyebrows, and since I like to keep some sort of realism here, I have the eyebrows usually be eclipsed by the hair. So there you go, now it's eclipsed by the hair. Holy shit, I didn't do too bad of a job here, actually. This is sort of decent. You might actually be able to convince someone this is good art. And good luck with that shit, though. Next up is the inner part of the eye. Usually, when I'm drawing different characters, I like to give them different shapes, face styles, hairstyles, eye styles, all that good jazz. But I have found, but sometimes you gotta keep it consistent. And one of the things I keep consistent for Olaterrio is I give him a pupil there, run it across, and that's the eye. And now it's the nose. You might want to take a long time to find the perfect nose for you. That seems okay. Anything okay for the nose is good by me. The nose is fucking terrible. And now here we have a... Fuck, I hit my phone. Now here we have a sort of done drawing. You can see I took you through the process, you know. There's some things I can't teach you, alright? Specifically how to draw lines, like how to get better at drawing lines like that consistently. I can't teach you that. That comes with experience, and I don't have that. So the best I can tell you is to keep drawing until eventually you can get the lines to be consistent. And also, don't copy other people's works too often, I want to say. Because one of the worst things you could ever do is have a generic art style that looks like another dude's art style, because not only will you, one, be considered a copycat, which in of itself hurts a lot, thanks a lot, asshole, but number two, not only will you could be possibly in the future, if you're guild professional, be considered a copycat, which I doubt it, by the way. Fucking, have you seen the media corporate art style that YouTube and literally every other platform uses? They're the same fucking art style. But two, you want your artwork to be as unique as possible, or at least I want it to be as unique as possible, so I take, I'd rather learn how to get into the mind of an artist rather than how to draw like an artist, because every artist is different, and so finding what makes you unique is how you make your art. With that being said, I want to say that I stole a lot of shit from other people. Yeah, obviously these shading lines I got from JoJo, but I kind of like them, so I stuck them in myself. If we're adding a lighting source here, I would maybe I would do it like this. Add a little bit of lighting detail, so now it looks like it's being lit up from the side. It's kind of hard when you reach these points though, like the arm and shit. That's kind of points you can't really shade on. Now we've reached the prettying up phase, where now that we've done all this shit, we can finally pretty it up. And what we're gonna do is we're just gonna... And now you trace. I'm not kidding. This is how I do art. because the sketching phase is mainly just so you're like, okay, now I know what I'm actually gonna draw. Now the drawing phase is just drawing it. There are a few other side notes that I want to put in here just in case anyone's having questions. This is Medibang Paint. I am using a Gamon tablet, I think it's called. No, pen tablet, not Gamon. It may be Gamon software, but let me see actually. Yeah, no, it's a Gamon tablet. Hold on. Yeah, it's a Gamon pen display. If anyone's wondering what the number is on this, it's a pen display PD1161. Good luck trying to find it. Just good luck, because I don't think that's enough information. Also, don't rob my house, please. Ow, my ears. And another thing is that when you're drawing, the first thing I'd recommend if you're trying to get into drawing is just experiment. Experiment with any drawing program and just draw for days on end, because you will not automatically get the settings you like as soon as you start. That's not how it happens. That's not Earth. If that's how it happens for you, get the fuck out of here. You're not human. You gotta experiment with this shit. You gotta find what works for you. And what works for me is 8.5 on Medibang Paint. So as you can see here, it's 8.5. Alright, now let's get to the detailing part. And this is basically just a bunch of redrawing. And one keynote here to take away from this is, if you can, do every line, as many lines as possible, in one stroke. It'll look cleaner, and you'll thank yourself later when you aren't experiencing spills when trying to color it in, if you were to ever try coloring it in. And we're done! Almost. We're almost done. Let us compare the sketched work to the final line drawing, just so that you can see the difference. Here's the sketched work. Looks pretty nice, doesn't it? It looks nice. I like some parts more than the other one. Like, for example, the shading and shit, but that's just a preference of pixel art just shining through to this example because of how jagged it looks. Now let's look at the finished art piece. It's like a cleaned up version of it, and that's what I like the most about this art. About cleaning up art. It's like, it looks clean. That's what I like most about it. And now that we're done with this section, we can finally get on to coloring. So, you may be wondering, Olaterrio, why are we suddenly switching? Well, you see, when it comes to coloring, it's good to have like a palette with you, and my palette is, as you can see here, purple, pink, these specific values of this color. I'm having some weird fucking hiccups today, but these specific values, you want to have a palette so that you can copy and paste from it when the time comes. So, now what we're going to do is color in. Key note, if you're doing this on Medibang Paint, what I learned recently is that if you put a layer below your line art, it'll make it way easier to color in. So do that, please. That saves you a lot of time. Trust me, it does, and it also helps shading. For the love of God, do that. The benefits of having it be on the layer below is that you don't accidentally delete line art. I learned that the hard way, and it's terrible. So please, for the love of God, when I say put it on the layer below, put it on the fucking layer below. Take my warnings, goddammit. Alright, first rule of shading is to understand where your light source is coming from. For example, I'm going to be facing the light source. And actually, I'm going to be facing behind the light, in front of the light source. So the light source is behind me. That's where the light source is. So all the light is going to be so it's going to be brighter on this side than it is on the other side. And basically, now you just shade to your heart's content. On that side. Now, if you notice, I'm using a certain tactic here where I line up the lines in a certain way, and then I just bucket them in. And since I'm on the layer behind the line art, I can use this expanding feature. And what it does is it grows out a little bit beyond the point of where it normally would. So, like, say I have a color here and I had a circle here. If I were to expand on the... Fuck, I can't make a close circle, really? How hard is it? There you go. If I were to expand here, say with pink, you can notice that it's fucking up the lines a bit, and that's because it's growing outwards a little bit from where it would usually stop. So if I were to, like, draw a line here, and, like, bucket normally, it would stop before it reached the line. Like, around here or something, and it'd leave, like, a little annoying white shit. Expanding, basically, goes a little bit beyond that to make sure that white line isn't there. But if it's under the line... If it's under the line, so if I were to add like another layer under here... Oops, I think I just fucked up layers. Yeah, I fucked up layers. If I were to add another layer under here, and I were to color there, now it's going to go under the line, so it's less noticeable and doesn't fuck up the line art. Now, granted, I'm not gonna come here and claim I'm the fucking best artist in the world and I know exactly 100% how to draw art. All I'm claiming is that this is how I draw art. Everyone's art style is different. They'll have different parameters and like requirements. Some people need some things, like they like doing things a certain way and other people don't. That's fine by me. I don't really care. I don't judge art too harshly. I don't judge it too much. I will judge. Don't get me wrong. I'll fucking judge like all hell. But I won't be an asshole and say it out loud. But yeah, that's how I draw art. Here we have the final product. I just realized I fucked up the eye. And time! It only took me an hour 28 minutes to do this. Isn't that beautiful? But yeah, that's how I draw art. Thanks so much for watching, and I just realized I need to thicken this line up a bit. There you go. There you go. Now it's done. Now it's done. Now it's... Hold up. No. I'm done. I am done. Now, I don't claim to be the best at art. I'm just saying this is how I draw art. And if it helps anyone know in my process of how I draw art, if it helps them draw art, then that's a good thing. That's all I really cared about. So with that being said and done, thank you all so much for watching, and now let's take a look at the shitty art I made when I was way newer at this. Alright, so here's practice drawings. You might notice something strange. What is it, you might ask? Well, just take a fucking look. So this is drawn using the animation program. When I say don't use an animation program, I really fucking mean it. At the time, I wanted to go for like a toys sort of style, like it's a shiny toy. But you can clearly tell it didn't come out too good. How long ago was this made, by the way? I know you can get file info, and I can tell you when it was made. Date taken January 8th, 2021. I don't think that's accurate. I don't know. This is like I'm reading this off a USB disc, so it's slightly different. So I don't know if that's the copy date or if that's the actual date this was made in. But holy fuck, if it was 2 months ago, what the fuck was I on? I also did the same thing for Hollow Knight. You can tell I fucked up the face. And Portal. I don't even want to look at this one. Eventually, I did redo them with a steadier hand, and they do look a lot better, I will not lie. I did improve massively in a quick amount of time. You can see here I'm doing all the shiny shit. I don't like this art style that much. I'd rather go for the art style I have now, which is a lot more detailed. I just like the way this looks. It allows for more possibilities than this. Just saying. That's my opinion, once again. One thing I will give it credit for is the cute factor, which is a factor of how cute something can possibly be. Here's Hollow Knight. I actually like this one a lot. You can see the little crack thing. It's so cartoony. That's what this basically is, cartoony. But I fucking hate the lines. Look at the fucking lines. Tell me, does that look good to you? I don't even want to explain what's wrong with this one, because I don't know what's wrong with this one. What's wrong with the face? Why does it look so bad? And here's the portal one. I actually like the way I drew the portal gun. I will say, I don't know how to draw certain things. I don't want to bother wasting 20 hours of my life to learn how to draw a portal gun. So I just fobbed it up and made a portal gun, how I think a portal gun would work. And as you can see, it's very shit looking. As you can see, I don't think this is scientifically accurate. Here's some practice art for Hollow Knight. As you could tell, I've been practicing this for a long time because I'm just now starting to do Hollow Knight. This was a while ago. I've been practicing digital art for a long fucking time now. I was preparing, everyone. I was fucking preparing to do digital art. Here's a cancelled series I had planned, Olaterrio Talks. I will say, I don't like this, but it's whatever this is, whatever graphic design this is, it's 20 times better than that face. Oh my god, why is the mouth, nose, and cheeks slanted when the eyes are not? Why? And that fucking stray line pisses me off. Here's another version of Olaterrio Talks. I will say I like this a lot more than the other one. You can even see the signature purple suit, which I don't use all too often anymore because, well, I'd rather be representing the franchise and game I'm playing than myself. So the purple suit is not seen as often, but that's technically what my character wears the most, is the purple suit. This is a demon of hell that needs to be purged. What the fuck is going on with that fucking face? Oh my god. It's terrifying. This was before I knew you could, like, draw below the layer of the lines. So the lines aren't there. You can see that they're just replaced by, like, a shadow of its form itself. That was before I knew you could draw before the lines. I mean under the lines, not before, retard. Here's some more practice art for Olaterrio Talks and Olaterrio Reviews. Yeah, this is what it was gonna look like. This is a different version of it. This is another version of it. I practice a lot, the same poses. I've also practiced with the monochromatic scheme a lot because I thought it looked nice for a while, but Also, that fucking arm be looking thick, boy. And here's Hollow Knight. One of my favorites. Not gonna lie, I love this one. I vastly prefer, like, other arts that, like, I like all of the arts that I'm doing nowadays. The longer I do art, the more I like the recent ones way more than the older ones. But this one's a personal favorite of mine, just because of the little Hollow Knight head there being so cute. That was stolen, by the way, from an unused art piece. I'll show you that right now, actually. Wow, wouldn't you know it? It's the next one. Yeah, it was stolen from this one, which was the planned version of the actual Hollow Knight art piece. It was supposed to be this. But I didn't like the way the head came out, so I redrew it, and this one became my favorite. It's cute, and it's got the skull thing. Here you have Celeste, which I gotta say, I don't like all too much. It looks like I have fucking, like I'm a fucking albino. And the monochromatic scheme, it looks fine, I guess. I vastly prefer the human skin, and you can tell I fucked up earlier. Like, I fucked up this eye, and this circle wasn't colored correctly, so I went back and fixed that. And also decided to put the palette here, even though it's very hard to tell what goes where. Here's some very early versions of Celeste and Hollow Knight. I tend to practice versions of games and series I want to do, like the artwork 100 times over. I see what I like, and I do it over and over and over again before I finally come to a conclusion, and that's what happens in Hollow Knight and Celeste. I hope someone appreciates the amount of fucking effort I put there. Once again, more artwork for Hollow Knight. You can see the sword here. I ended up not putting the sword in the final one because it was hard to draw correctly. Once again, more Hollow Knight. This is once again in the animation program. And you can see that a lot of them have some, like, features that just never showed up in the final piece, like the little band-aid here. It never shows up, like, in the official piece over here. It never shows up. Even though it's, like, in almost every single iteration of it, it never shows up. It's just, like, one of those, it's like a cut content in some game. I love that kind of shit. You can also see for why I decided to go with this style of eyes rather than this one. This one looks like I'm fucking cross-eyed, while this one looks like I'm looking to the left, which is why I decided to go with this style than this one. So yeah, now you know the reason why. Alright, that's enough of the colored sketches. I also have a separate tab for uncolored sketches. And these are way earlier versions of the sketches you saw before. Get ready for pain. What the fuck's happening here? This is when I was playing Bug Fables, so this was around the time Bug Fables was happening when I started going back to digital art. What is happening? This doesn't look natural over here. And this looks fine, but the hands are weird. I don't like that face. I didn't even bother finishing this one. Dude, what the fuck's going on? I tried Kabu so many times, it never worked out. Ah! Why? They burn! Oh, look. Another me. Oh, this is when I decided, this is when I was trying to figure out Hollow Knight for the first time and how would I draw Hollow Knight. I was originally planning to have the mask on, but ended up not putting it on because you see why here. Yeah, this is a different iteration of it. Hollow Knight, same again. Here you have some art that I drew for a friend. And I'm showing this off because I want to show off how terrible I am at drawing JoJo. Here's Dio. Oh my god. What the fuck is wrong with him? Why is his arms fucking steel pipes? Ah! Here's Here's Joseph Joestar. His fucking face is caving inwards. Oh my god. Oh, it's killing me. Here's him again. This is an earlier version of it, by the way. I don't know how I got worse. And lastly, but not least, here is a random sketch I drew on a completely different program. I don't think I drew this on Medibang Paint. I might have, but I don't think. So yeah, that was how I draw art. Thank you all so much for joining me on this extremely long adventure, and I hope someone learned something from this, and I'm glad we got to poke fun at the crap art I used to make. So yeah, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next adventure, whatever it may be. Bye-bye!